Hello, boys and girls. So this is rate lesson 3. It's the last one we're going to do on rate. And these are tables that you find out in real life. And how do we figure those rates? So today I'm going to talk you through those. And then remember, we're going to be multiplying or dividing to find the answer. So let's get to it. So here we have a chart, and this chart or table, shows the rates of a parking lot and how much the parking lot charges for you to park there. So Mr. Carl parked his car from 1:30 in the afternoon to 7 p.m. that evening. So how much did he have to pay? So let's look at the table. From 8 o'clock a.m., a.m. is in the morning, to 5 o'clock p.m., that's in the evening, you're going to pay $1 for every half hour that you park there. But after 5 o'clock, you're going to pay $1 for a whole hour. So the first thing we have to do is kind of separate this, because after 5, the charge is different than before 5 o'clock. So the first thing you need to do is figure out how much time is it from 1:30 to 5. So that's the first thing you want to figure out. So 1:30 to 5 is going to be how many hours? So I'm going to count on my fingers. I'm going to count by hours starting with 1:30. So 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. That's 3 hours, right? But I'm not going to 5:30. So I'm going to go 3 hours and a half. So this is 3.5 hours. All right, now I have to figure that out. So how many half hours are in 3.5 hours? So each hour is going to be 2 half hours, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have this half hour, which is 7. So I'm going to be paying $7 to park there till 5 o'clock. Now from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, that's what I have to find out, not now. That's 2 more hours. But after 5, I only have to pay $1 for every whole hour. And there are 2 whole hours, so I'm going to pay $2 more. And 7 plus 2 is $9. So I'm going to be paying $9 to park there. So when you are doing these parking lot, and when I go to Richmond and we go on a field trip, they have these tables out there in the parking lot, and you have to put the right amount of money in the meter so you don't get a ticket or they don't tow your car. So it's very important that you know how to read the table and figure this out, because you do use this like in real life. So once again, figure out how many hours at each rate. See, here's one rate is $1 per half hour. The other rate is $1 per whole hour. So you figure out how much time you're going to do each rate, and then you add it up. Okay? So that's parking lots. Now, this next one, see if I can bring that down so you can see that. All right, so here, workers in a factory are paid at different rates depending on if they work during a weekday or during a weekend. So if they work a weekday, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, they're going to get paid $28 each of those days. But if they come in and have to work on a weekend, a Saturday or a Sunday, they get paid $38 per day. Well, Mr. Carson worked from Friday to the following Tuesday. So he worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. He worked 5 days. So it says, how much was he paid? So let's look at that. First, we have to figure out which days he was paid, which rate. All right, hopefully you can see that. So the first thing we have to figure out is, all right, Friday was a weekday, right? So that's 1. Then he worked Saturday and Sunday. So that 1 day is a weekday, 2 Saturday and Sunday, but then he had to work Monday, which was a weekday, and Tuesday. So he's worked 3 weekdays and 2 weekend days. So how much is he going to get paid? Well, we're going to multiply 28 by 3. And then we're going to multiply 38 by 2. And then we're going to have to add those together. So 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. So he made $84 on the days that he worked, the weekdays he worked. Let's multiply this one. 2 times 8 is 16, carry your 1. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 76. So he made $76 in just 2 days. And then we would add 84 and 76 to see how much he made. He was paid in all for those 5 days he worked. 6 plus 4 is 10, carry your 1. 7, well, this is actually 7 and 1 is 8, and 8 and 8 is 16. So he made $160, in those 5 days. So that's nothing to joke at, right? Some money. Most people probably wouldn't work for that now, but for a whole day. All right, we're going to move on. Okay, so now we have something else that we have to deal with in real life, and that is when you go to the post office and you want to send a package, or you want to send some papers or a book or a magazine, you have to pay postage on it. And so there's always a table or a chart that lists the weight and the postage. Now, and they weigh that in ounces or grams, but in the United States, it's ounces, but the rest of the world uses grams. They use the metric system. So, and the United States might have gone over to grams by now. I don't know, but that's why in U.S. schools, you learn both the metric system and the standard system. Okay, so let's look at this. So if you want to send something that weighs 20 grams or less, so you weigh it, and they have these scales, and you put your envelope or your package on the scale and they weigh it. 20 grams, you're going to pay 30 cents in postage. Now, these are good postage rates. They're much higher nowadays. If you were going to send something that weighed 50 grams, you'd pay 40 cents. 100 grams would be 70 cents. And per additional step, so every 100 it goes over that, you're going to pay 60 cents. So let's see what that means. So we have a magazine, and the magazine weighs 85 grams, and we want to send it in the mail. So first, it's over 20, it's over 50, but it's not to 100. So we're going to have to pay this 50 gram charge for it. So if we look here, it says weight step not over. Okay, it's not over 100, but it is over 50. So we're gonna, all right, so here the weight step is over 50, but it's not to 100. But since it's over 50, we have to pay the next step up. So we're going to have to pay for this 85 gram package, we're going to have to pay 70 cents. And you're like, but it wasn't 100 grams. Yes, but it was over the 50 grams. So if it was 50 or less, you'd only have to pay 40 cents. But because it went over the 50 grams, you have to pay the next step up, which is this 100 gram weight, which is 70 cents. So sometimes it's a little confusing as to which one you choose. I'm telling you, you have to choose the next one up because you have to pay any extra weight. So you'd only be paying for 50 grams if you paid 40 cents. So anything over 50 grams, you have to pay the next one up, which is 70 cents. Everybody understand that? Yeah, sometimes the Postmaster General has to explain that to his customers. All right, what if we had a magazine that's weighing 330 grams? We've taken a big jump. This is not just one magazine, it's like thick. All right, so we have to find the postage. So weights, it's over 20, it's over 50, it's over 100 grams. So we know we're going to pay 70 cents because it's over 100. So the first 100, right? The first 100 grams, can you see that? Yeah, is going to cost us 70 cents. All right, we know that. Now we have to figure out how many hundreds over that we have to pay. So we paid for 100, right? Now we have to go to 200. So we're going to pay another, we're going to pay for every additional 100, we're going to pay 60 more cents. So let's see how many times we go over it. So 100, 200, 300. Now we're not going to get to 400. We're not going to get to 400, but we went over 300. So we're going to have to pay for the partial part of going over. And you're like, that's not fair. Why can't I just pay that? You cannot do that. For every additional step over that 100, you have to pay 60 cents. So we paid for the first 100, and we have the next 200 is going to be, the next 200 grams, you're going to pay 60 cents times 2. And then for that last little bit, the 30 grams, see, 200, 330, guess what? It's not a whole 100, but it's over, so we have to pay the full 60 cents for that too. So here we go. How much are we going to pay? We're going to pay 70 cents. 60 cents times 2. Well, 2 times 6 is 12. So, and 2 times 0 is 0. So you say 120, but we have to remember our decimal. So it's $1.20, and then the 60 cents for this. So then we can erase the times and just add these together. 7, 8, 9. 9 and 6 is 15. So we're going to pay $2.50. We're going to pay $2.50 for this 330 gram magazine, this package. So today we're really talking about, things that you find, out in the world. Parking lot meters and postage. Amount you're going to pay for postage in grams. So we have one more chart or table I want to show you. Okay, here we have taxi fare. So if you're going to go to the city and you don't want to drive around, or you want to park your car and drive and then take the train into the city, but then there's somewhere you want to go and you want to get there by taxi, you're going to have a taxi fare. Now, these are pretty good taxi fare prices. They're not cheap like this anymore. But so in a city, the rates of charges for taxis, the first kilometer, now remember, everything we do in Singapore is metric compared to, so they're not doing miles. If you went to a city in the United States, it would be done in miles. A kilometer is a little bit less than a mile. Not tremendously different, but enough. So for the first kilometer, you're going to pay $2.40, and for every additional kilometer, you're going to pay 40 cents. So the taxi fare says find taxi fare for a trip of 5.5 kilometers. All right, so for the first kilometer, here we go. For the first kilometer, we're going to pay $2.40. right? Then, okay, for the next, so we did take 1 off of 4.5, you get, 5.5, you get 4.5. So for the next 4.5, right, next 4.5 kilometers, you have to pay 40 cents for every additional kilometer. So we know it's 4 kilometers, but then there's also what? Part of another one. So when you're doing, you're always going to round up. You're always going to go to the next one in all of these, in the, the parking lot, the postage stamp, the postage rate. You're always going to, if there's anything over the last step, you're going to pay for that one in full. So we have 4, but we have part of another. So you're going to pay 5. You're going to pay for that additional kilometers. You're actually going to pay for 5 of them. So you're going to have to pay for 40 cents times 5. All right. So let's go ahead and add that up. 40 times 5. 5 times 4 is 20, right? With a 0. So this is going to be $2.40 plus this is $2. And if you don't believe me, here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, $2. So we're going to add those together. And you are going to pay $4.40 to travel just 5.5 kilometers. So happy traveling. You are now ready to do exercise 35 in your workbook. And if you have any questions, just give me a call. And we'll be moving on. You're going to do a practice 4A, and then we're going to move on to line graphs later on this week, and that'll be the last skill that you have to learn for this year. So we're getting there. We're so close. Have a great day.